Moving along now, we have a special session put together by WDO member Korea Institute of Design Promotion. I am pleased to introduce the moderator for this session, who is Jeongman Sung, the Director of Global Expansion Division at KIDP. Jeongman, I'll leave the floor to you to introduce our two speakers as part of this next session.
Yeah, I see. I'm Jeongman, Head of Global Business Division and Korea Institute of Design Promotion. We invited two Korean designers here. Today we'll talk about growing as design leaders in global companies. Shim, Vice President of Design Kakaostyle, please raise your hand. And Jongwoo, Principal Industrial Designer, Logitech. Yeah. Thank you for your participation. First of all, many people may not know about our speakers, so I ask you to explain about your career path briefly. From Mr. Sim.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hi, people, designers all over the world. Thanks for having me, WDO. My name is June. Thanks for having me. As Jeongman mentioned, I'm a vice president of design at Kakaostyle in Seoul. My career path. I was like non-design major student at the college, like who loves reading design magazines and books, you know, about like Poland and Massimo Vignelli, Soul Bass, Theorams. But I didn't really know what I really like to do for my job. And all I know is I love typography and using colors and playing with the images. And one day I stopped by at the bookstore. I found a magazine called IDN. Probably you guys know. It's a Hong Kong-based graphic design magazine. And I saw all things I imagined in my head. And then I realized that, oh, people call this kind of stuff like graphic design. And I decided to learn graphic design and moved to California when I was 27. And I joined the Art Center College of Design in California as a graphic design major. After I graduated, I joined Nike World Headquarters in Oregon State. And, you know, after that, I moved back to LA, worked for a couple different design studios and ad agencies for almost like 5-6 years, doing a lot of like TV broadcasting, rebranding, show package, and that kind of stuff. And in 2015, I joined Apple company as an art director. Mostly I worked for Apple Media Services, working on Apple Music branding and App Store rebranding, and several different campaigns at Apple. After 4 years, invaluable stint at Apple, I joined Google and worked for Geo department, which is focusing on Google Maps and Earth and some other products. And I worked on rebranding and design system for Google Maps for 3 years. And recently I moved back to my motherland, Seoul, since I left my country in 2008. And joined the Kakaostyle in Seoul as a vice president of design.
Thank you. Mr. Choi.
Hi everyone. So thanks for inviting me on this event. So my name is Choi, and I'm from South Korea. So I was born and brought up in Seoul and moved to London around 11 years now. So now it's 3 a.m. here, so I just woke up an hour ago. So sorry for the hoarse voice. So my family is just sleeping here. So I hope you understand. And yes, when it comes to my design careers, I started in design consultancy and furniture design studio and the global design team at LG as an industry designer. I love to make the tangible object. So this is why I love the industrial design job. And I studied innovation design engineering at the Imperial College London and the Royal College of Art, which is based in London. And my original background is industrial design, but having engineering experience during my master that gave me more opportunities to work in the engineering and the tech industry. And after graduating, most of my time I used to work in the automotive industry. So I worked at the McLaren. I don't know if you know McLaren, that the company that makes sports car, and we do some Formula One sports, and then we do some technologies in the future mobility. So I led some of the future mobility project like micro scooter and the large size of the public transportation, such as like train design, for example. And this year I moved to my journey at Logitech. So Logitech has a huge business in PC related, and we mainly focus on everything you need in your workspace at home or office in general. And I mainly am working on the MX series, which is we are designing the product for a creator. So yeah, this is the who I am.
Yeah, thank you. This is a very short time, but many people know about our speakers. So I will start the questions about the common question. But you can choose one question. I give you two questions. One is, what are the most stable requirements for the role of design leaders? And the other is, how would you describe your leadership style? So from Mr. Shim.
Yeah, I think I can answer for both, but let me answer briefly. I think as a design leader, I think the most important two things are first a capability to come up with overall like long-term vision about the brand or service or product, and the second one is good management skill, of course, for project or people. When you're leading design group, you're responsible for more than just the design process. You need to provide product or brand vision and share your insights in many different aspects to your design organization. Even though you went to art school or your major is not business, but you have to be involved in lots of like strategic directions, business growth, budgeting, understanding of market trends, and etc. Like personally, this is also very challenging for me. Um, I'm constantly learning every day. But design leaders must have this ability to tie design initiatives to your business strategy. The leading design is completely different job from actually like making designs. You don't use Photoshop anymore, but you create a bunch of like strategy deck in Keynote and looking for a bunch of numbers graphs in a Word document. That's my day-to-day job. To deliver best impact for your organization's business strategy. And the second part is as I mentioned, the good project or people management skills. Like management involves like team building, other like logistical activities such as like hiring or defining, people's like career path, building company's culture, like planning compensations and, or at the same time managing like multiple different main projects. You gotta find the people with the right balance of technical skills for your team and to find the right organizational structure to make your team more productive. You gotta keep your team moving efficiently by standardizing design process and managing products and coordinating with other teams. You need to build the connections with other team leaders and executives to make sure your team gets what they need and get proper support from the company. That's also really crucial things as a design leader. So yeah, what's my design leadership style? Like, I don't know. I'm just work in progress version in all aspects I mentioned. Yeah.
Thank you. So how about the Mr. Choi?
Yeah, so I think I can briefly introduce about my leadership style. So I think that June is, as June said, he's more like leading the business, but I'm more in the center between managing the project and I'm just actually doing some design work as well. So, but I'll describe myself as a affiliated leader. So every moment I feel inspired and learned by others, and I never gain any experience from the internet or books. So, I was lucky to meet the different type of leaders in my career. So I remember one of my ex-managers who has an inspiration to people with a humble and respectful attitude. So he always encouraged people and gave positive feedback and listened to what people were concerned about. So as we know, though, we can't measure the leadership. And I thought he was very friendly colleague, but not a great leader. But after he left, I realized his absence. So he was truly great leader who has a super positive mind in my memory. So this type of leadership style that I want to follow. So in my experience, a great leader makes people feel comfortable and let them focus on their job. So I believe my goal is as a team player, I want to make everyone successful, not just the designers. So just help them to be successful in their career and share knowledge and support and make them feel like we are in one team. Of course, the caring for people is always the top of my list, but not just about work. It's about their life. So, I don't want to be a prescriptive person. I want to be more friendly mate, but in professional way. So this is what I feel and what I think. This is my leadership style, and this is what I want to be in the future.
Yeah, thank you. We can hear the most of the requirements and then leadership style from its designer. So I think it's a good time to understand what they said. So from now on, I'll ask each speaker an individual question. Mr. Shim, did you have any design mentors or good leaders from your experience?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And yes, I did. Yeah. Luckily, I've met lots of great design leaders and mentors, and I have worked with many good people, like good leaders, and I learned a lot from them. Like one of my great friends and mentors, his name is Sang Han. Now he's a creative director at Google. Now, he's one of the impactful mentor for me. And I walked in from Apple to Google. We did many great projects together, and it was a great opportunity for me to grow and learn a lot from him. As I mentioned a lot of like criteria, the requirement for the design leaders earlier, but I learned like how to play a center role in crafting a vision for your product and brand level, or like how to be able to help like train designers how to collaborate, how to negotiate, like how to communicate, like how to provide like constructive feedback, and how to sell your concept or ideas or strategy through excellent like storytelling and presentation. I think when I was working with him, I learned a lot like this, kind of like the basic stuff as a design leader, and I just absorbed it, and it was a great opportunity for me to grow to be a design leader. So yeah, if Sang here this session, yeah, I would like to say thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Che, now it's your turn. You has been working for Logitech. So how does company culture affect leadership?
Yeah, so I believe that design leaders influence organization culture. So culture is instilled by the leader in a workspace. So there are still many companies in the world that they have negative culture because the leader is just focused on their profit or micromanagement or the lack of the flexibility, for example. And negative cultures then undermine positive leadership by managers who have the stake in the old culture or struggle to accept the changes in the modern workspace, such as the hybrid working cultures that we are talking about nowadays. So what you can do better in this culture? So if you are a designer and when you work in this type of company culture, you only have a small room to grow up yourself or restriction to gain your leadership skill as you spend more energy demonstrating how the design is key to success in the business. And now the world is, we talk about the diversity and equality, these type of topics. And I believe the designer or the leader who has a designer's mindset could adapt more a positive or a new culture as we have more flexible mindset than any other jobs. So let me share the one image that I have. I'm sure you can see the image. So this is called the Danish design ladder. So I believe many of you have seen this diagram. So in the past, we think the design is to making things beautiful, make a profit. There was a step 2 in this picture, and that was how the company used the design. But now the innovation companies move on to the design as a process and design as a strategy. And Logitech, we will focus on the engineering while the design was handled by design agencies. We moved from the full development process at the company in the past. But after new CEO joined and he hired the new CDO, and the company redefined identity to integrate the design thinking across the business. So now the Logitech is design-driven business company. So I strongly argue that this company is one of the best place for the design leader. And designers are involved in core business, and the leadership team, they listen to what we think and what we change better. So I believe that we are in the step 4. So I'm sure we are aware of the power of design. So company has grown up the fast in the decade because of the design. We use the design as a business, and this is why I believe the company culture affect our leadership, and the design leader has a key to changing the culture. So, yeah, I can stop to sharing this. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing some the images. So many people understand it is easier to understand what you said. Next, I'll ask Mr. Shim. As you know, each company has the top-down and bottom-up management. So do you think each culture requires different types of leadership?
Yeah, that is really, really good question. Thanks for asking, Jeongman. I think, understanding about the company's culture is very crucial as a design leader. And you need to be mindful that every company has their own culture, and analyzing your company's priorities is the key to success of your org or team or the project. From my experience, like Apple and Google is completely different companies. Also, the way they work is quite different. Like that being said, it might require different types of leadership. But even though there are different expectations to design leaders in different culture, I strongly believe that ultimately great design leaders could be able to show great leadership in any circumstances. Being able to help like push things in the right direction, being a great team player with open-minded attitude, and identifying the great people to learn from and grow with, and delivering the best impact for your organization's business strategy are very, very common requirement for design leaders in any companies. One really important thing I want to share is I haven't seen any leaders who are good at everything. No single person has all the answers. The good leaders know um, what they are able to do and what they can't do, and find the right people on the right position to make it work. So, when you listen to this session, and if you guys feel like, oh, I'm not, 100% prepared to be a design leader, like, don't worry, like, probably, you're never going to be. And I'm not, I'm involved in, very a lot of like strategic directions, business growth and budgeting, market trend and a lot of stuff, like non-design stuff. Like I mentioned, this is very challenging part, and I'm constantly learning every day. So I always keep in mind that no matter how much you know, there are always more to learn. So you can't be good at everything. So that's the, key takeaway when I was working with lots of talented, great design leaders and mentors.
Thank you. And it's a final question, Mr. Che. What do you consider your greatest strength?
Yeah, so I think the innovation, the mindset is my strength, I believe. So, as I said, I was born to be a designer, but I have an engineering capability that makes me expand my knowledge and just think beyond the problem and solving. So, we as industry designers are seeing problems as opportunities to making things better, and we understand the vision of a project more than any other job. I hope I won't share any other images, but I hope you know the double diamond design process. So industry design, we are in the middle. So we do research and we do design, or we do a bit of engineering stuff, and then manufacturing and marketing. So we have involved all the design process in the project. Therefore, having an innovation mindset helps to navigating the project to be more successful. And when we work on the project, we face a conflict between designers and engineers quite often. And I believe I do understand engineering language, and my strengths and responsibility as a team player are how we communicate and work better with the engineers and other groups. And this is one of the leadership skills that I share with my team. And there's another one. So I love the word is fearlessly forward. So I don't think I'm not the type of outgoing person, but I never avoid any fears. So the courage is another of my strengths, and this is the where my leadership skills come from. So I remember, my first big speech in public, and I represented the company at the conference, and I was under pressure and emotionally scared and worried because I thought I'm not good as a presenter, and I'm just designer, who love to making things. But this consistency has improved my leadership skills because I learned how to take ownership through these experiences, and having ownership is a fundamental step to gaining a leadership skills, I believe. So a great leader should have a confidence in what we are doing and what we think it is the right decision. I really enjoyed fear, and it's never been easy, but I feel this is a way to grow up as a design leader. So yeah, I hope that clear.
Yeah, thank you. And we have the 6 minutes, so I think that I want to know about one more the instant questions. I mean, there are many Korean designers, young Korean designers right now, and they want to go go abroad, and then they work for the global companies. But as you mentioned, many people want to get some ability and then capability and then courage, but they sometimes know about how can do that. So can you give me some advice for young designers? It's not related to the leadership, but I want to know about. I want to have some kind of advice from you. How they go outside, and then how they do that to go for the global companies, work for global companies. Yeah.
I don't know who want to answer first. I can do first. I
Yeah.
think I don't know if in this chat there's many audience with different background, different national, but what I see in the Korean young designer, they have a exceptional the quality of the design portfolio, which is good, and that is what the company want. But in general, I think the communication skill might be necessary. That if young designer want to work in the global company or or any other agency in the world, I think I see the lot of the young Korean designer. They just sit on the desk and no communication with others. They just focus on the work. They just do some sketching and modeling and rendering. That is the one of the skills they need to work as a designer, but it's not everything. So I think the socializing is important and the communication with others. So that's part of the leadership skill. And I think this type of thing is make a next level of the designer, and then that might be the better I could advise that how to get the opportunity to work in the global company.
Yeah.
I agree with Ryan. I see a lot of like great designers these days, like young people. They're doing kick-ass visuals. The craftsmanship, their skill set is way better than when I was in the college. Their work is amazing. But as Ryan mentioned, the communication skill is very crucial, especially in the global companies, because when you have like great work, like great visual, but if you can explain and articulating your logics and your storytelling, your strategy, like then it's you can convince people. Like designer's job is like convincing people, but I can't really say, hey, this visual is sick, it's dope, so you need to buy it. I can't really say that because that's very subjective thing. So how you convince people, it could be based on data, or it could be based on the strategy or your storytelling. It's a design is not just making like beautiful work. It's more about like problem solving process. So define the problem and then come up with a solution, and then this is the visual way, or the branding way, whatever, to solve this issue. So this kind of like storytelling is really important. And I know a lot of designers are very introvert. I'm introvert too. But sometimes like outgoing and communicating with people, articulating your concept in more like bold way, that's also super important to be a successful designer in global companies.
Yeah, thank you. And then it's almost time. We invite two Korean designers to listen to their opinions on the topic of growing as design leaders in global companies. Once again, thank you to the speakers who attended today's talk. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jeongman, June, and Ryan for joining us and sharing your leadership perspectives with our audience. A big thank you to Ryan as well for staying awake until 3 a.m. His time in London.